Hello, it is Talking Reds. It's match day. It is John Gibbons. I'm joined by Neil Atkinson and Rob Gutmann to look ahead to Liverpool's game against Girona. And look ahead we can, Rob, because we're looking down on everyone else in every league. Neil even found another league in the weekend yesterday that we were top off. Or was it Josh?
Josh, with the understat one as well.
Yeah,
which
top of that. Yeah. They're inventing leagues now for us to be top of. That's how good it is. So when you are looking down on literally the rest of Europe, you can only look ahead to what is going to be hopefully another great game for Liverpool.
Yeah, I was working out how many points we need for the title, and I mean the Champions League Group Stage 1 title, as whatever it's known. I think we need, 5 points would, 7 points would technically do it because Inter are 2 offers.
Right.
But they've got some tough games, so it looks to me like 4 should do it. 4 should do it. So a win tonight would be a big step in the direction of getting towards winning that league that means nothing.
Winning this trophy that might not even exist.
Unless it does, as Arne was talking about in the press conference yesterday, he goes, we're just going to have to wait to see how the whole season plays out before knowing whether we should even try to win a game like this. He was sort of saying that because I think matters have been made much simpler for him and for us mentally, I think, by the postponement of the derby, because in the sense that the boys have now had best part of a full week to rest, so all issues about do you want to give Van Dijk a rest? Does Gravenberch need a night off? Does Salah need to miss a game? They're sort of academic now, because I think if you started to give your big lads a game off, they're then going to go into Fulham having not played for 10, and then you're starting to think, hang on, there's a rhythm issue here. And I think this manager, even more than the last manager, seems to prize rhythm even above freshness, I would argue. He thinks rhythm brings a kind of freshness. So I know we're going to go on to talk about team selections, but I think it makes it a much simpler game to look forward to. It's pick your strongest team, just go out and win.
I've got an idea.
Go on.
Rob was talking, then I'm going to pitch to you.
So you weren't even listening?
No, I listened to the first half.
You zoned out, didn't you?
I listened to the first half, and then you said something about winning this trophy, and I was like, is there a trophy? And I was like, there's probably not a trophy. And I was like, maybe there should be a trophy. So
join the club.
The idea is we find out if there's a trophy. If there isn't, we run a competition to design one. Pick our favourite, make it, and then get Mo to give it to Arne Slot at the next press conference after we've won this league.
I fucking love it.
Thanks, man.
I fucking love it.
That's it then. That's sorted out.
Should we start working?
Text in with your is it a good idea?
No, I don't think there's any debate on that, John.
I actually think my first pitch for what it could look like is like Arne Slot's head. Do you like a Jules Rimet trophy?
Yeah.
It's an orb, but at the bottom is a small.
In future years, they'll call it the Arne.
Yeah.
When other teams win, we really want to win.
We've won the Arne 3 years on the trot.
Yeah.
Came second in the Arne.
The Tuchel press conference for whoever he's managing. So I think winning the Arne is a big deal.
And pass it around.
Yeah.
We'll then get it to the next one. Who wins the Arne? If it isn't us, I mean, it might just be us forever. But if it isn't us, someone else then gets a turn with the Arne.
Yeah.
It was sorted out. There you go.
I mean, if some French footy magazine can invent a Ballon d'Or,
we can invent this.
Yeah,
fucking right, we can. Yeah. I'm bang into it. Yeah,
good. Let's that was good. Was it a C? It was worth me zoning out.
I'm very glad you did. Now, I'll try and bore you more.
No, you didn't bore me. You stimulated me that much.
I stimulated you, didn't
I? I couldn't possibly focus on. Did you listen to the second half of what Rob was saying?
I did. Yes. Because he's really looking forward to the game.
Oh, good.
He's done maths on how many points he thinks we'll need to win the Arne.
I was listening. It was 4.
And it was 4, and I do sort of agree with him. I think 5 almost certainly secures the Arne, which would be fantastic to have in our back pockets at this point in time.
We have to make this now, Jordan. What's your sculpting like?
Yeah, have you sculpted before, Jordan?
Poor. All right, okay.
Metallurgy from Jordan there at the back.
Who do you think's the best sculptor in the Anfield Wrap?
Walker down.
Definitely Walker down.
I suppose pound for pound. Yeah.
Pound for pound.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I think also someone's put in the comments straight away he better rest Gravenberch and Salah.
All the best with that.
No, but also
he's not been listening, has he?
But yeah, I just genuinely feel quite the opposite. Like I think that they both need a game. Gravenberch in the press conference was on the verge of saying I'll play every day if they let me. But I just think also in general to Rob's point of it, it will become 10 days, and they will have been training on whoever it was who was going to feature in the derby on Friday at the very least. Like, we're going to have a game of footy, and then there isn't one. And I think that sometimes we're desperate, and I understand why, because we're scarred by what's gone on in the past, but we're desperate to have footballers up in Cotton Wool.
Yeah.
Whereas the truth of it is that footballers, they're like racehorses. They're being time to play games of football. That's what they're meant to do. So I think if you're not careful, what I would say is I wouldn't be having Gravenberch and Salah even go to Southampton.
Yeah.
I would be making a change team for the game against Leicester on Boxing Day.
You'd ideally like to pull them off on 60 tonight if things went your way.
And also not least because you wouldn't mind seeing Enzo get half an hour.
Yeah.
Because you need to set him up for Southampton, but also he might just be of use in the Christmas period. I come back to Leicester, and then you've got possibly a League Cup semi-final. That's on the 8th of January, and I know it sounds mad. And then you've got a game against Atkinson, where I wouldn't have Gravenberch or Salah near either of those. And I know that feels like you go a long way.
You wouldn't have them in the northwest, never mind Atkinson.
Exactly. Yeah. You just sort of
send them further away.
Go away.
Just to make the point.
Yeah.
Send them to go watch someone else's game at 12:30 on the Saturday. So I think it's important for this little bit of these games that are to come, that you're able to manage them. And I don't think, and the mad thing is, if we win tonight, John, I think we're in a position where we can genuinely be able to manage everyone's midweek all the way until apart from the Forest game, where we've got the Accrington game the week before, the weekend before, if you see what I mean. We can manage everyone's midweek all the way through, I think possibly until the end of February.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's such an opportunity. And then that means it's about when they're playing, you're playing them because you want to get them in the best possible nick. Some of them in the midweek games and going from there. And I think that's such a luxurious position if they win tonight. And they weren't going to have the opportunities. Like, tonight could have been, if the derby has happened, tonight could have been Endo, it could have been 8 changes. It could have been he's looked at them all on Monday and gone, fucking hell. Yeah. Whereas now, the position he's in is he can say, you know what, we win tonight, and I can just manage my resources pretty nicely, given the way the fixtures break and the way it goes and the cup draw. You know, God knows who we get in the semi-final of the League Cup, but I'm prepared for him to make 6 or 7 changes in that still, even at that stage of the competition. And he can manage his resources really quite nicely all the way until the end of February.
Craig's just come over with a piece of paper. Is this about the honour?
It's in the comments, Craig. What do you want at all?
I was hoping that was going to say Salah agrees new contract.
No.
Because the next best thing, which was
Australia tour.
Yeah.
We're going to Australia. Let's just do it now.
Well, someone put in, Fermi said, "Hi lads, heard rumours the Rap is coming to Australia." Well, I said on the free show yesterday, Fermi, that's not a rumour, mate. I literally said we're coming to Australia.
It's not really ears to the ground stuff. It's more ears to our released content.
Yes, so the first show will be on Tuesday, the Tuesday of the March international break. So they play Villa away on the Saturday or Sunday, and then on the Tuesday we will be in Sydney. So I just can't quite get my head on what the date is, which is why I'm sort of playing for time.
It's the 18th. It's the after my birthday.
There we are. It's March the 18th on the Tuesday in Sydney. And then I think on the Wednesday we're then in Brisbane. On the Thursday we're then in Melbourne. And then on the Sunday we're in Perth, and there might be other shows as well. Tickets will be on sale from this week for those 4, and we're working on the other bits and pieces. We've been asked in the comments here about New Zealand. New Zealand is unlikely. But we're sort of having a little bit of a look, but it's further away than you think, which is the thing to bear in mind here.
Is it? When you're in Australia, is it miles away?
It's still a cheeky 4-hour flight.
Is it?
Yeah.
And there's a further time zone situation to deal with.
So how many days are you going to Australia for back?
I think we're away for 11, but there's obviously travel.
I can't conceive of just going to Australia for only 11 days.
My wife.
I go for 11 years.
My wife's going to be 7. So there you go.
Wow.
So it's just one of those things, isn't it? You could stay longer.
I'd have to go for 11 years.
I
just don't like the flight.
They used to send people to 11 years to Australia.
Oh, did they? Yeah, with the next stuff,
yeah.
So now we've got to get back because they play games again, unfortunately.
Yes.
So the Villa game happens, and we're there. And then we've got to get back because the Reds come back into action, but hopefully they're coming back into action in a wonderful position in league and European competition, John, which is what this is all about and what tonight's an opportunity for.
Alison Becker, fit,
Hello.
On a plane with a drink. Matt, I believe they're calling it. Are you starting him straight away, boom back in tonight?
I am, Jeff, because, he's been out quietly quite a while now. And when you've had a player out quite a while, you don't drop them in likely into the biggest games.
And obviously Fulham's the biggest game of the season.
It is. And you wouldn't have dropped him into the derby, I don't think, had he been ready there. And Fulham, it's more. I think Girona's the right. Obviously, it is an important game, but if things go horribly awry for us, we can dust ourselves down
and still win the Arna.
Yeah. And we'll definitely finish top 8 in the Arna League, which is the first priority, and which we would achieve if we won today. That would be confirmed. So, no, I think it is ideal. I don't think it's one of those where he goes, he'll give him 60 and pull him off, which would be very fucking funny, by the way, in a certain sense. So, no, I think he's a shoo-in to start. It's nice of Queef's form to slightly taper off just as we bring Alisson back. I don't know why, but there seems a certain sort of symmetry to that. But no, I'm being unfair on Queef. He's been fucking unbelievable. But but I can't wait to see Alisson play again.
Will you start tonight?
Absolutely. I think the manager's made pretty clear he's going to.
He said he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, he's gone out of his way to say he's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And he said he's back and he's around the squad. I think he starts tonight. I think he starts Fulham. He then doesn't need to start the next midweek. He then starts Spurs. He then, I will say again, I don't think he needs to start Leicester. He then starts West Ham. I think getting him back in and getting him at one game a week, I think is no bad thing for an extended period. He should not play the League Cup quarter-final or semi-final if we get there. The previous manager didn't even play him in the League Cup final, and I think that Keller has deserved that. And then if we win tonight, there's actually no need for him to play the other two games in this competition.
Could just be basically a Premier League fella till March.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave him out of Leicester though. I don't.
I
get your point because it's a bit condensed. But at some point he needs to get into the rhythm as well.
I think he does. But I don't think we necessarily need to do that until maybe you get to Forest, which is a Tuesday night game, and then there's Tuesday night and then Saturday after Forest, and it might be that you choose to do it after then. What I'm saying though is that there's no pressure really in terms of getting him back to 3 a week, because that's what Keller has shown enough of for me. I think Keller had the credit that he deserves, and the what he's done for himself, I think, is absolutely enormous. Nobody thinks any goalkeeper is perfect. Nobody thinks Keller is perfect. But he has shown he is good enough to keep goal for a side that's trying to win a Champions League and the Arna, and a side that's also trying to win the Premier League. Like, he's shown he's good enough to do that. And I think that's now indisputable.
There's a big question about Alisson and his Liverpool career, I think, which I don't think we've, as supporters, have entirely embraced. And I wonder if the club has more so, although they obviously wouldn't shout about it. The Mamardashvili signing last summer is sort of instructive, as an indicator of how they might be thinking. What I'm saying is, have the club concluded that Alisson is a unique kind of goalkeeper in two senses? One, he's the best in the world, but two, he's not a goalkeeper who will play you 99% of games, as majority of top goalkeepers seem to be able to do. He is going to have his minutes managed. That's what a keeper is. His body reacts to the extremes of the quality of his performance, and you can't count on him maybe for more than 60-65% of games over a given season. And as he gets older, they have to bear that in mind. Do we think that maybe that's what's going on with Mamardashvili, and could it play into the future Keller's career?
I think possibly, but I think there's something else that's worth pointing out. It's just two of the contenders for best goalkeeper off the past sort of 5-10 years have both had quite substantial injuries in the last sort of 3-4 years in Courtois and Neuer. They both had extended absences.
Yeah, actually, you're right. Courtois
had one as well relatively recently. Mamardashvili himself picked up a little knock this week as well,
month,
supposedly.
Yeah.
So I just wonder whether or not, as the demands on ironically, the physical demands on the position have been huge for ages. There's loads of jumping around and falling on the floor, but you get the impression keepers are trained for that. But maybe if the demands on the position in terms of, well, now you've got to do all this, you've got to look after Nick Pope was out last season for God knows how long.
Yeah.
Nick Pope's a really good goalkeeper.
But the guy had a gap year, which is mad.
Yeah.
Now he's playing really well.
Yeah. So maybe the demands on the position have just changed to an extent, and so therefore maybe there needs to be just maybe a little bit more management than there's been in the past. And it doesn't take much, The shift of goalkeepers missing domestic cup games has been present for God knows how long. Chelsea are actively rotating the goalkeeper because they've got Conference League. Last season we were using Kelleher for that because we were in Europa League. I think it would be smart if I was in the Europa League this season. I would be using a Europa League goalkeeper because it's an opportunity to do that. I think it might be sort of a direction of travel, but it also wouldn't surprise me if in the back of Liverpool's minds is, well, I'll tell you what, there's worse places on the pitch to have two really good ones, because you will get the opportunity. And as I say, if they win tonight, they might look at Lille and PSV as an opportunity to say to Kelleher, well, do you want this shirt back? Because A, we might need to call on you. B, you've deserved it with your performances. Also, C, if we're frank about it, it doesn't hurt the valuation. if it come the summer, if we're able to say, and he's played this many Champions League games. What else are you looking for? He's played that many Champions League games, that many Premier League games. What you're knocking around telling us he's worth 18 million quid. We're telling you he's worth 36. Cough up.
Yeah, I do wonder. There was a model that Barcelona had for a while. Was it Ter Stegen and Bravo, when they were virtually sharing games, all but 50-50? Was one getting the Champions League, one was getting La Liga. But, you know, it was close to, in terms of the way they felt about it, close to a 50-50 sort of partnership. I do wonder if that's the thing of the past, where it's... Because however, thus far, whatever story we're telling Keller, look, you're getting games, he's still seeing himself as a second choice.
He is.
And he is second choice. And he'll never rest his mind, I don't think, as a very talented young goalkeeper, that he isn't somebody's first choice. There's almost a status thing, whereas I wonder, to your point, Neil, where... Will we hit a point where maybe the top clubs will routinely have goalkeepers where there's a sort of parity between them?
I think that's possibly what's a bridge too far.
Right.
But because, what do I want for Alisson this season? For instance, why I manage Alisson now is because, you know, if we're where we want to be come March, then what I want is we get the other side of that international break, we fly back from Australia, and Alisson's in goal every game.
Yeah,
that's the way this now works. Maybe something around a cup semi-final or something. You might decide to do Kelleher, but apart from that, you know, Alisson League and Champions League business end, he's there and he's ready every single game. I think that is. I think you probably still want that clarity, and I think that the goalkeepers themselves, I think, would actually want that clarity. But I think being able to say to an able deputy, listen, there's a future here. This season, this is your pathway to 25 games. Do we need to get lucky in the cups and etc. etc.? But yeah, we are prepared to give you one of the Christmas fixtures. We are prepared to give you, when they play 3 in a week, we will look at one. Chelsea did play Jorgensen for the Southampton League game. So he's been playing the Conference League games, but they played him for Southampton away last midweek. I was very on top of that Chelsea team. But it's, you know, I think it could be, and I think it's a good thing. And I think that today, you know, it's going to be great to see him back. Hopefully he really is primed and ready to go. Then we get to see him on Saturday. But it's also good to think Kelleher knows when his next game is. And often goalkeepers don't have that luxury. Kelleher literally knows when his next game is.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do a little bit more chat. We're going to talk a little bit about Chiesa, who's missing this trip. But first of all, just want to give a huge shout out to NordVPN, who are partnering with us at this run of Talking Reds to the end of the year. Huge thanks to them for not just partnering with us, but also the service they provide. I'm using it quite a lot. It's going to be useful in Australia to keep in touch with the UK TV programmes that we've been enjoying. But also, one of the main things I know a lot of you sports fans use it for is when something might be on telly, even if it's taking place in the same country, nice city that you're in, maybe at 3 o'clock on Saturday this very week.
Just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah. For example, you can't watch it, but alas, it is on telly in many, many, many other countries.
Free to view in some of these places.
Exactly, but with one click on something like NordVPN, change your virtual location with just one click, accesses the whole world's sporting entertainment, and you're able, with a streaming service like Peacock, for example, to enjoy that from the comfort and warmth, and it is nice to be warm at the moment of your own home. So it's one of many benefits to NordVPN. So you can subscribe at the moment. There's a fantastic offer available if you go to nordvpn.com/TAW. That's nordvpn.com/TAW. You can use it on up to 10 devices, and that confidence that you will enjoy it. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you get onto it, it's not for you for whatever reason, you can get your money back within 30 days. So yeah, nordvpn.com/TAW. And thanks a lot to them. And just to let you know as well, quickly, if you're watching this live or you're enjoying it in the afternoon, we're going to be watching the game today at Gravity Max in Liverpool 1. We're going to be doing the post-match content from there as well. So from 5:45, no one get caught out with this cheeky...
Big public service announcement this, John. This is important.
No one get caught out with the cheeky early kickoffs. We are the 5:45 this week, so don't miss it. But if you do want to come along to Gravity Max, it's family friendly, there's food on and stuff like that, loads of sort of different options. I enjoyed the Wendy's the other week. I know Phil Blunder like Greek. Yeah. The world's your oyster there, so have some food. It's very family friendly, and enjoy hopefully another great Liverpool win. So Gravity Max will be doing the post-match content from that as well, and post-match play is going to be free tonight courtesy of Gravity Max. So if you are a YouTube subscriber, you enjoy all our YouTube stuff, you're going to get post-match pint for free tonight, hosted by me, no less. I've just remembered that's why I've sort of done it, courtesy of Gravity Max. So there you are. So loads of ways to watch us either in person or on YouTube later on. Chiesa, you mentioned before, Rob, when we walked in, it's a little bit disappointing for him because you feel like there's these games, he's got himself fit and now he's bloody poorly.
Yeah, I think he's quietly been in training for, I want to say, nearly 10 days. uninterrupted, which is quite the stretch, really, given his stop-start Liverpool career. They gave him some minutes in the under-20, an hour or so in the under-21 game the week about 7 days ago, and he scored. So I think he would have been targeting this game to at least get half an hour off the bench, I would have thought, with a view to maybe even getting a start at Southampton next week, and playing himself back into squad contention for the Christmas period and beyond. We've had glimpses of him, and he looks talented, and we obviously know what he looked like at his best, and we're excited to sign him. I think he will be bitterly disappointed. I mean, he's reportedly ill, no reason to doubt that. So it's a little bit of a kick in the teeth for him, but hopefully he's okay, and he can be back, make the squad for Fulham, although it's a difficult squad to make at the moment. We've got a lot of options, and quietly people are becoming fit again. I was thinking about Southampton next week, and I'll just turn off my phone while I'm thinking about it. And I thought we could actually put out Chiesa, Nunes and Jota in some configuration in theory, which allows you to give Gakpo, Diaz, Salah the entire night off. I mean, I'm not saying he will, but suddenly we're in sight of having 6 forward options again.
Yeah, when you are a squad player, and that's what he is at the moment, he's probably the only one of the 6 you would call a squad player, and part of that's because he plays the same position as Mo Salah, of course, but when you are in that position, it is important you fit when you want to use the squad, and so it's frustrating for him, but also for the manager, and he's thinking like, this is what I could do with you, really.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think, again, the Merseyside derby being postponed shifts that a little bit, because I expect Salah to play tonight. And
he might not have done if he'd have played Saturday.
And he might have decided, he might have just had a look at it and gone, no, this is the time to rest Salah, whereas now it isn't. I think it's worth sort of making that crystal clear. I think there's a little thing with Chiesa, where for me the big one for him is Southampton. I think if he can start Southampton, I think that's a massive boost for everyone who's involved. I suspect it'd be one of Gakpo and Diaz who play off the left against Southampton, and then he'll weigh up what his option is, I think, through the middle of the pitch.
Could have Jota.
He could have Nunes. He could decide that he could start Jota. He could do half an hour Jota tonight, like it, do an hour Jota then against Fulham, and then, but the point being, to Rob's point, he's suddenly got 6, and this is the ebb and flow of the injuries. I think there was a period where there was 8 defenders who were all available, and there was only 4 forwards. We could be back to 6 forwards who were all available and only have 5 defenders.
But then people tell him to buy a defender, and as he's pointed out, but by the time I can buy one, I might have them all back again.
Exactly, they could all be knocking around. So I think that there's, but even then, that you can still make an argument. And listen, there's a couple of areas of the pitch where I think you can make an argument for another player. But I'm very with it, John. I think him just having that ability at Southampton to make it different. And as I say, even possibly not take Salah. I think if he's got 6 fit, there's an argument that you leave one off the bench, and you could just say to Mo, you don't even need to leave your house. You watch it, get your NordVPN on. You sort it out on this one. He probably doesn't have the subscriptions, Mo, if you stop to think about it, because he's always out when the games are happening. Because I think
Mrs. like, why are we paying for this?
Yeah,
you're literally playing.
I know, yeah, it's ridiculous. So I think that then you flip round there, and also that Sunday game against Tottenham is absolutely enormous. It's likely to be enormous. In fact, no, it will be, because literally the table is as the table looks regardless. So that is a massive game, and you want to keep everyone ready for that. And then you can make a decision and say, well, you know what, Salah didn't even travel to Southampton, but we've got 3 league games in a week there, and he's playing all 3, and he's also Mo Salah, and he insists upon that too, because we've got Chiesa. And I think that's the key part of this, because we've got Chiesa. Also potentially got Elliott, and suddenly you could have a situation where the other side of McAllister's suspension after Fulham, you might have, all 6 midfielders, plus Morton, who annoyingly has got a knock for this one. Yeah. Because it might have been nice for him, to the same point you're making about Chiesa, for him to have maybe got off the bench and got 20 minutes in this one, especially if the game's going Liverpool's way. So I think that no Morton's almost a bit more of a blow, in that I think with Chiesa, I almost feel a little bit like the thing you could probably most do with is 60 minutes. I think Morton, you want to get him into a bit of rhythm playing in the system, and then maybe start him against Southampton. And I think Endo tonight as well. And then suddenly, well, that's a full complement. And then it becomes, well, all right, what are we doing elsewhere? And that's where you might see, and I don't think it's insane to think that you might see one of the lads be used, as the midfielders be used as a bit of a utility man at Southampton. It wouldn't surprise me if we look at
a fullback.
Well, maybe both of them. It wouldn't surprise me if everyone goes, it seems she drops, and so everyone's going, who's playing fullback here? There's a fair chance that moment comes, because I think if you're going to use Trent and Robertson tonight, you're going to use Trent and Robertson against Fulham, you're going to want Trent and Robertson against Tottenham. So I think you're in a situation there where...
And Leicester and West Ham.
I think there's a chance where you're genuinely looking at either a really inexperienced player or a bit of a mad one, where you're sort of going, Do you think he might be playing Szoboszlai and Curtis left and right back here?
Yeah, well, someone's going to have to play left back at Southampton.
Exactly. So where does that? And I think there's a chance, as I say, and because I don't think he's that interested in dipping into the young players. I think he's got the young player, a couple of the young players he's prepared. So Morton and Naoni. I think he's prepared
Nallo
to
keeps
use.
making benches. He's a defender who we haven't seen.
Yeah,
yet.
Nallo's not making tonight though because he's playing as we're talking. Dan's is not making tonight. He's playing as we're
He's
talking.
travelled Nallo, hasn't he?
But he's with
We
playing
did the
they're playing Girona
Right,
now.
yeah.
But I agree with you. I think there's a chance Nallo gets involved somewhere. I also think there's a chance Dan's makes again. If Dan's is available, there's an argument you take Dan's to Southampton maybe ahead of one. Yeah. And you think, well, you know what? If we need someone for half an hour here who can come on and do it.
Yeah, if Jota's not quite right, then he is.
And the new wonder kid Engamoa keeps training with the first team. I think he's playing against Girona tonight as well, and his form's been fantastic. So he might be another one on the bench.
Yeah, but like Neil says, the managers at the moment, he's not giving any of them any sort of minutes. So whether that changes, we'll sort of have to wait and see. But you can only go on the evidence so far that he's got a little bit of a reluctance at the moment. But
they could at least make a bench for Southampton. Yeah, is the point that you can make here, and that's where I think, and it's about to be not quite all hands to the pump, but I think Southampton is, it's his last moment where he gets to say, all right, it's a bit of a deep breath, boys. It's 4 league games in 4 league games that will feel must win in a pretty intense, and 2 of them genuinely are. I'd say 3 of them are, and we just saw what happened with Chelsea at Spurs. In any normal season, I think you should be beating Man United at home and Leicester at home and West Ham away. I think you've got to be getting the points from. Good news that West Ham won last night because it suggests he'll still be in charge by the time we get there.
I know it's game by game though, isn't it?
Oh no, we're all living on a prayer.
Yeah, I know.
As long as he doesn't get thumped now, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right until then.
And they're not going to do Ange now. If they'd have done it, they'd have done it Monday.
Yeah, and
he's got no.
And she's still going to be there.
Do you think just going back to our defensive options? I've got a feeling he might try and rehabilitate Kwanzaa as a centre back, as Virgil's partner for a bit, knowing that Joe is the one that really can cover the full back positions, and there needs to be cover on both sides. Really, I mean, Joe can very adequately cover Andy Robertson, and he can adequately cover Trent. And I know he flipped that for Newcastle and the late stages of City, and put Kwanzaa at right back. But I feel Kwanzaa's natural position is centre back. He played a whole season for us there, near as damn it. He's a very, very competent young lad. I think there are games like tonight, maybe even Fulham and Southampton are good opportunities to get him back in a rhythm of playing that position next to Virgil van Dijk.
But then, I mean, for me, the most important one where you want to be able to do that with Gomez is Southampton. But then you're playing Virgil then at Southampton.
Well, there's the rub, isn't it? I mean, if you play both Kwanzaa and Gomez as your alternatives, your centre backs, and who's playing right back?
Exactly.
Who's playing left back? Yeah.
So that's what I was saying before.
Yeah, that's your point. Yeah.
So you sort of go on that journey a little bit there. I think he's been eager to have his hierarchies. I think a little bit like, for instance, Konate got in and Konate just pretty much stayed in.
Yeah.
And I think it was because Konate and our partner's Virgil, and that's the way in which it goes. And I think he's especially got his eye on that for that square in front of the goalkeeper. I think he likes that consistency there. He's always sort of fallen back on it at every opportunity. So I think that, for instance, whoever plays at that base tonight, and I presume it will be Gravenberch and Jones, it'll then be Gravenberch and Jones against Fulham. And then I think whoever plays centre-back tonight, for the same reason, I want you all to understand what you're all doing in relationship to each other, will then play that one. I think Rob's point is, in theory, a good one. But I almost feel a little bit if he wants to maybe have an extended rest for one of the full-backs, tonight might just be the night. Where you maybe accept, you say you wonder if you might risk knocking one of Robertson or Trent out of rhythm, but maybe you do tonight off the basis of the fact that you might need to play one of them then in the game against Southampton. But again, I think this is a very different conversation if Saturday's game's taking place.
Yeah, no, I think that is fair. It does give him a little bit more option to go a little bit stronger. Okay, we'll leave it there. If you are going to the game, if you're watching this from your hotel in Girona, then obviously enjoy it and lucky you. If not, don't forget that, as I say, we'll be in Gravity Max later. The post-match pint is out for free straight after the game, so do enjoy that. If you're enjoying this on YouTube, you'll know where to find it here, wherever you are right now. The post-match pint will will be a little bit later. And for the rest of the week as well, we'll be looking ahead to the weekend's action and across Christmas. The games come thick and fast. We're working straight through. We're reacting to every game straight after. We're doing all the previews. So we think it's a great time to subscribe to the Anfield Wrap. So the AnfieldWrap.com/subscribe if you want, or download the app. You get some free tokens you can get stuck in. Also, there are gift vouchers available at the moment as well. So if you're looking for a present for anyone who you know who's a Liverpool fan, or indeed you've got someone nagging you like my mum is, what do you want for Christmas, lad? Say, I'll have an Anfield Wrap subscription. They do them in 1, 3, 6 and 12 months. So let's see how much you love me. That's what I will be arguing.
It'd be tough for you to make that argument to your mother. Is what I would say. She's got a
I'm fucked, but they
they can do it, but she'll see through that.
Well, I'll ask for some merch because it's not knocking about anymore. We used to sort of sell it out from here, but we don't anymore. So yeah, Mum, I'll have that Conor Bradley top. That's smart. I'll have that. There we go. Huge thanks to Rob for coming in, for Neil as well, for Jordan for pulling all this together, and for you guys, of course, for joining. Sorry we didn't down any comments. I presume it's all about the honour. I presume it's all about entries. People wanted to get in.
They're all nice people.
All nice people. Well, if you're being nice, up the Reds.
Bring your digital life to a whole new level with NordVPN. Choose the fastest VPN on the planet and explore the internet without interruption.